Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really get under the surface of important topics, pulling out those essential insights that help you stay truly informed.
Exactly.
And today we're focusing on something absolutely fundamental: water and sanitation access for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, the UN set this really big goal: achieve it for all by 2030.
A huge goal. And look, there has been incredible progress, genuinely incredible. Since 1990, 2.6 billion more people got improved water?
Yeah, 2.6 billion and 1.9 billion for sanitation.
Which is, that's monumental when you think about it.
It really is. But, and this is the kicker, the challenge is still just massive. That 2015 data showed 663 million people still without improved water.
And 2.4 billion without improved sanitation. So, yeah, the job is far from over.
Far from it.
And, getting there by 2030, it's not just about spending more money or drilling more wells. It needs more than just data. It needs better data.
Right. Better ways to measure what's actually happening.
Exactly. The sources we looked at really hammer this home.
Yeah.
A lot of projects, well, they don't put enough resources into tracking, or they don't use consistent indicators.
And that leads to spotty reporting.
Yeah, limited accurate reporting. So we don't always know what's truly working.
So it's not just what we measure, but how. Really getting that right seems crucial. And that's what we're diving into today, right? A systematic review looking at how to pick the best indicators for things like wash water, sanitation, and hygiene.
Precisely. Understanding that how is key.
Okay, let's unpack this then. It seems obvious. You count the taps, you count the toilets. Why does the way we measure matter so much in WASH?
Well, it's quite a bit more nuanced. Monitoring WASH, it's absolutely essential. It's how you track progress, ensure accountability.
See if the money is actually doing something.
Exactly. See the impact.
Yeah.
And that data, it feeds into policy. It guides where the investment goes. It even lets you tweak projects while they're running.
So real-time adjustments, that could make a huge difference.
A massive difference. So when we say indicator, it's more than just a number.
Yeah, what is an indicator in this context?
So Lorenz defined it well. An indicator is like an aggregation of variables that means more than just the sum of its parts. It tells you something significant about the whole system.
Okay.
And Hammond and others said indicators quantify information so its significance is more readily apparent. They basically simplify complexity to help us communicate better.
Got it. So like the dashboard in a car. I don't need the exact oil pressure reading.
Right.
I just need the oil light to come on if there's a problem. It boils down the complex engine stuff into something I can act on.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And just like with your car, you need those signals to be reliable.
Or you ignore them.
Exactly. Reliable indicators, they let you compare things, different projects, progress over time. They show you trends. They help make those big policy decisions.
And bad indicators?
Well, the source is blunt. Poor indicators may produce data that lead to an incorrect understanding. You might think something's working when it isn't, or vice versa.
Okay, that makes sense. So these indicators are clearly super important. How do we pick the right ones then? That systematic review you mentioned must get into this.
It does. It's quite rigorous. The researchers basically combed through published peer-reviewed studies.
From all sorts of fields.
Yeah, environmental science, ecology, sustainability, development, water management, the works. They sifted through it all and found 41 papers that really focused on how to select indicators.
And what did they find was common practice?
A big thing was the use of conceptual frameworks.
Frameworks, like a structure.
Exactly. A way to organize the indicators. The idea is they make all this complex data more accessible and intelligible, especially for decision makers and, well, the public.
Like putting things in the right folders.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Common ones they found were things like DPSIR driving forces, pressures, state, impact response. It helps you trace the problem from cause to effect to solution. And C, social, economic, ecologic, or environment, looking at it holistically. And PSR, pressure, state, response. Simpler, but similar idea.
And some studies just made their own.
Many did, yeah. Factor-specific frameworks tailored just for their particular needs.
But here's where, for me, it got really interesting. The study found this surprising, homogeneity.
Right, across all these different fields.
Yeah. They only found 10 distinct methods for selecting indicators in total. 10. and 8 of those were used in over half the studies.
It does suggest a kind of shared wisdom, doesn't it? Or at least a convergence on what works.
Yeah, like these methods have been sort of validated across different disciplines.
And there's a huge benefit to that. It brings logical organization to picking indicators. It removes some of the guesswork, the arbitrariness that can creep in.
Makes it more transparent too, I imagine.
Definitely. It improves transparency, as the source says. You can see why certain indicators were chosen.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this mean for actually improving how we monitor WASH projects on the ground? Does this research give us a practical method?
It does. It essentially distills all that research into a pretty clear 6-step blueprint, a way to build really effective indicator sets for WASH.
All right, let's walk through it. What's step 1?
First, you have to define purpose and scope. Sounds obvious, but it's critical. What exactly are you trying to monitor, and who is this information for?
Okay, give me an example.
Well, the purpose might be something like identify elements reflecting WASH status in schools nationally. Clear and specific.
Got it. Step 2.
Select a conceptual framework. That's choosing your filing system like we talked about.
Yeah.
DPSIR, C, or maybe something like inputs, outputs, outcomes, impact.
Provides the structure. Makes sense. What's next?
Third is search for candidate indicators. This is where you do your homework. Look at the literature, see what indicators others have used for similar things.
But you can suggest new ones too.
Absolutely. If there's a gap or your context is unique, you might propose a new candidate indicator.
Okay. Then step 4 must be about judging these candidates.
Exactly. Determine selection criteria. This is where you set your standards. What makes a good indicator for your purpose?
And the paper gives examples of criteria.
Oh, yeah. Really good ones. Like, is it measurable? Simple enough to actually quantify.
Right.
Is it reliable? If you measure it again, do you get the same result? Is the data available? Can you actually get the data accurately, consistently over time?
Crucial. What else?
Is it sensitive? This is important. Does it actually pick up on important changes?
So it's not just static. It moves when the situation moves.
Precisely. And finally, is it valid? Does it genuinely measure the thing it's supposed to measure? Does it correlate with the real-world issue?
That's a solid list of criteria. So step 5 must be applying them.
You got it. Score indicators against criteria. You basically rate each potential indicator against each criterion you chose. The paper suggests a simple score. 0 if it doesn't meet it, 1 if it does, maybe 0.5 if it sometimes does.
Okay, a scoring system. And the final step.
Step 6, select the final set of indicators. Based on those scores, you make your choices. You want a good spread across your conceptual framework, and you prioritize the high scorers.
High scorers, like the ones maybe a standard deviation above the average score within each category.
Yeah, something like that. The paper mentions that as one method, focusing on the strongest performers in each part of your framework, it ensures balance and quality.
That whole process sounds very systematic, logical.
It is. It takes the fuzziness out of it. But, even with a great system, indicators aren't magic wands. They have limits.
Okay, yeah, that's important. What do we need to keep in mind when we see data based on these indicators?
Well, one big thing is that survey data, which is often used, it's usually just a snapshot in time.
Right, it might miss seasonal changes, like a water source drying up in the dry season.
Exactly that. Water system status can change. So indicators do not necessarily reveal the entire situation. You have to interpret them carefully with context.
So they're a powerful tool, but not the whole picture.
Precisely. And the study itself acknowledges its own limits. Only peer-reviewed stuff, only in English.
Always good to know the boundaries of the research. Did they suggest where research should go next?
Yeah, a few areas, like how indicators relate to each other, refining those scoring systems, the weighting for criteria, really digging into the pros and cons of different criteria.
And composite indices, those single numbers that try to capture everything.
They mention exploring those, but with a big caution. They can easily mask important aspects of complex concepts. You lose the nuance.
Right, oversimplification.
Yeah, and also needing indicators that work across different scales from a single household right up to the global picture.
That makes a lot of sense. So, wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows that picking the right way to measure things isn't just trivial.
Not at all.
It's a structured, transparent process. The systematic approach seems like it could fill a real gap, especially for vital areas like WASH-EMT monitoring.
It moves it from guesswork towards, well, a science, making sure we're tracking what really matters effectively.
It ensures that the effort, the resources, the policies, they're actually hitting the mark. So maybe the final thought for you, our listener, is think about these principles we've discussed. Defining your purpose, setting clear criteria, evaluating options against those standards. How could you use that kind of systematic thinking in other parts of your life?
Yeah, that's interesting. It could be anything, couldn't it? Choosing news sources, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
or even just tracking your own progress on a personal goal.
Right. Understanding the indicators, what you choose to measure, and how that can bring real clarity. It's a powerful tool for making informed decisions, not just in global development, but maybe everywhere.